Is Smash Brothers even a fighting game? Now, obviously, this all comes down to semantics. What do you call a fighting game? I mean, you fight people in pretty much every game that exists. But of course, we're narrowing it down to the specific fighting game genre. And so now you have to define what makes a fighting game a fighting game. So we gotta define what belongs in the fighting game genre and what doesn't. So, again, I ask, is Smash Brothers a fighting game? I say no. Why? Because Sakurai himself doesn't consider Smash Brothers a fighting game. When the developers make Street Fighter or King of Fighters or another game with the word fight in the title, it's pretty much assured that everyone that works there knows they're working on a fighting game. But Sakurai says, no, Smash Brothers is not a fighting game. In several interviews, he's likened Smash Brothers to more of a Mario Kart atmosphere, much like there's racing games and then there's Mario Kart, and then some people even make up the genre of kart racers. But Mario Kart is obviously in a class of its own, and Sakurai wanted the same thing, but in a fighting game. He wanted people to whoop it up and anybody could be a winner. But of course that doesn't jive too well with the fighting game community, who likes very standardized rule sets, and that's great because it's a sport. Sports have rules. In the fighting game community, because of the competitiveness and for a select few a paycheck, they don't want randomness. You don't want randomness. This isn't gambling, it's a sport. And a lot of sports usually have some rules, and that's not a bad thing at all. You gotta set a few ground rules before people start beating each other up, even digitally. So by nature, the fighting game community and just fans of the game in general took the game too seriously. Even Sakurai was surprised he's had to make so many sequels. It's never enough for some of you people, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, I'm playing the latest Smash Bros, so I'm not complaining that Sakurai has to spend 5 years on every single trip down this road. I mean, it's okay to take video games seriously. Where would I be? Where would this podcast be if I wasn't taking video games way too seriously? Just aesthetically, Sakurai never endeavored to make a serious tournament fighter. He just wanted to make a bunch of references to Nintendo and get paid to do it. And having everyone just duke it out seemed like the easiest way to introduce dozens of Nintendo characters and reintroduce maybe hundreds of them to us again. I mean, to be fair, yeah, this Smash Bros. Fight scene isn't what quote-unquote Sakurai intended, but points to the people taking Smash Bros. Seriously, because the creators of Street Fighter 2 never intended combos to happen. And where would fighting games at all be if players hadn't uncovered this problem with the game and found a way to make a different game from the game that the developers intended? I mean, it's inevitable. If a game creator gives us a fun world, we're gonna find some fun things to do with it. Some things that the developers themselves hadn't thought of. Really, those are some of the best games of all, right? I wouldn't love Smash Brothers so much if I couldn't have matches with only Falcon punches. But I think that highlights that I like to play Smash Bros. The way Sakurai intended. Items on high, levels on random, maybe even characters on random. Because all we're trying to do is have fun. I mean, the real game isn't even on the screen. It's coming from our mouths via a bunch of shit talk, which I will get into in a future break. Right now, I want to talk a little more about Smash Brothers. Something I love about Smash Brothers, when items are falling everywhere and people are duking it out for a Smash Ball. I thrive in chaos. Chaos is fun to me. It makes me feel alive. Apparently, I prefer to thrive amongst chaos rather than rule over order.